Good morning, everybody. We're just going to do the usual thing and let everybody get into the meeting room. But if you can perhaps drop a message in chat and let us know that you can see me and you can see Alfonso and you can hear me. Tell us where you are in the country or the world. Yeah, it's coming through. All good. Excellent. So whilst everybody's doing that and coming in, I shall just share my screen and get us ready to kick off. But it's really good to see you all here this morning. Thank you for taking the time to join us. And I had this problem last time as well, where my screen sharing is paused, which really doesn't help. Resume share. Will it let me resume share? Can I just check that can anybody see my screen? Can you see my screen, Alfonso?
I see loading. It says loading.
Right. This is going to be a little challenging because I don't know why it's not letting me share my my screen. What I might do, I think Ellie is on the call. So Ellie, if you're still here, are you able to access the Google Doc and share via your screen for us?
Yes, yeah, I can. Let me get that up.
So I'll stop my sharing. So apologies everybody for this little hiccup. I don't normally have that problem with Zoom, but for some reason I do here. But I will start anyway while Ellie just organised that for us, because at the end of the day, the slides are not critical here. The stuff that Alfonso is going to be sharing is far more critical. So good morning. Welcome to our App Advisory Plus App of the Month webinar for February. Who'd have thought that we are already at the end of February? January is going to be a distant memory for many of you, I'm sure. All those tax returns done. It's great to be able to get back into some really exciting and meaningful stuff. Before we kick off, for anybody that hasn't seen it yet, we launched our new App Advisory Plus website on Monday. We're really excited about it. So if you haven't seen it yet, do take a look. Let's have some feedback. Today's session is all about analyze and understand client financial performance with Qokoon. So if, like me, first time I met Alfonso, I looked at the name and thought, I'm not quite sure what that is and how I should pronounce it. It's all going to be explained perfectly to you during the course of the session this morning. So I'm delighted that Alfonso is with me this morning. Thank you, Ellie, for sorting that. And if you can, I'm going to give you some instructions as we go through. Hope that's okay. But if you can, yours is saying loading as well. So I don't know whether you've got the same problem that I have. But whilst we crack on with that, for those that don't know me, I'm Will Farnell. I'm co-founder of App Advisory Plus and founder of Farnell Clark, an accountancy firm based in Norfolk. And I'm delighted that Alfonso is with us this morning. Alfonso is the founder and CEO of Qokoon. Welcome, Alfonso. Would you like to just give a quick introduction in terms of who you are, your background, and that would be a great place for us to start.
Yes, great. Thanks, Will, for giving us this opportunity. So I'm the founder of Qokoon. My background is in investment banking and private equity. So I've analyzed lots of companies in my career, and I always suffered a problem that I've tried to solve with Qokoon, which is the automator of financial analysis and reporting. I've been working in banking. I've worked in private equity. I've done financial management consulting, and I've turned around companies. And I've always seen this problem. Obviously, I've gained certain financial analysis skills. That is what I'm trying to convey and to make available to people, basically.
Excellent. I would normally at this point put up a slide showing you what we're going to talk about during this session, but it looks like Ellie's got the same challenges that I have, so apologies for that. But we're going to talk about a bunch of topics. Firstly, we're going to talk about the rise of outsource FD, virtual CFO services. Why are we seeing this shift? Why are we seeing lots of accountants and even bookkeeping firms talking about supporting businesses with much more than the stuff that we used to? So how do we get into that more strategic advice, that strategic insight? We're going to talk about if you want to do that stuff, and I think that many of the firms that I talk to absolutely do, then where do you need to start? What are the fundamentals that we've got to get right at the outset? So how do we make sure that we've got the right data, the right quality of data? So we're going to drill into that a little bit. Then we're going to start talking about tech. So we've got tech already that does the basic fundamentals for us. But what's the role of technology in underpinning these strategic services? So when we start talking about virtual CFO, when we start talking about virtual FD services, how does tech help us do that better? And that's going to lead us quite nicely into specifically how Qokoon helps us gain that kind of valuable, and the thing that I think is really unique about Qokoon is the instant insight into client data. And that's going to let us bridge quite nicely into Alfonso sharing the product, showing you how it works, and helping you see what I saw first time I saw it, in that we know that there's established reporting tools, dashboard tools on the market, but Qokoon, I think, is doing something slightly different. So it'd be really good to kind of get your feedback on that. We would love questions. So quick Q&A is working, even though screen sharing isn't. So do put those questions into the Q&A. I'm going to keep an eye on those. I'll put those questions to Alfonso as we go through the session. So to get us started then, Alfonso, Qokoon. Where did it come from? Why did you set it up? And most importantly, what's the story behind the name?
Yes, so like I said, I was suffering the problem of analyzing and reporting lots of companies when I was in investment banking, private equity. It took me, I work with Excel very well, but it still takes a lot of time to update the data every month, to prepare charts in a very intuitive way. The problem is that a lot of times CFOs or the finance team doesn't do the analysis, and sometimes, and when they do, they convey it in a way that it's not intuitive for the CFO, even the board or investors. Okay, so there's a lot of time spent preparing the monthly finance report, sometimes 3 or 4 weeks after the month. You prepare something that is visually very hurtful, and then the person reading it doesn't understand it. So it's almost like a wasted effort. I saw that across the board in investment banking, private equity companies, and I decided to solve this problem. I knew I had automated it in Excel, but I thought, look, there is an opportunity here to automate it and make it available to the public, thanks to the cloud, etc., etc. My issue back then, this is 6 or 7 years ago, and my issue back then is, okay, how do we deal with the data entry? But then companies like Xero and QuickBooks mainly, and all the others, but they started making it very difficult to get the data from them, because they want to create an ecosystem around them to give a really good experience to the user. So I thought, okay, if we can get, and what Qokoon does is we take in 30 seconds, we download from Xero and QuickBooks. We also have an Excel upload, but from Xero and QuickBooks, and others will come. In 30 seconds, we download 5 years of data of P&L, balance sheet, and cash flow on a monthly basis, which means we have 60 months of P&L, balance sheet, and cash flow. And with that, we can do a lot of analysis with our algorithms, etc.
Yeah.
With regards of I think you asked me about the name.
Yes, absolutely. Where did the name come from? And it's Qokoon, isn't it?
It's Qokoon. I mean, yeah. Sometimes some people don't know how to pronounce it. I wanted it to be pronounced as Qokoon. Okay. When I created the company back then, the URL with the normal spelling was taken. So I just thought, okay, what can I do this in a creative way? So I decided to go for Qokoon. The story is, a caterpillar goes into a cocoon. Yep. An ugly caterpillar goes into a cocoon, and a beautiful butterfly comes out. With Qokoon, we have ugly numbers coming to Qokoon and beautiful reports come out. But most importantly, when the caterpillar is in the cocoon, it is protected. And if companies look at their financials on a monthly basis, they're disciplined, they understand their finances, they report it to the right people, CEO, board, investors, bank, then they are protected as well with Qokoon. So our goal is to protect companies. Just to summarize, or to be specific about our mission is to help SMEs improve their financial management and improve the literacy, financial literacy among startup owners, managers and directors of companies. We do have a one-day seminar where we train people about that using our tool, and people have liked it a lot because we make it fun and intuitive using what people are going to see later on.
Yes. Yeah, perfect. Excellent. So thank you for that introduction. So let's get into some of the conversation around this. So I feel a little uncomfortable asking this, but I think it's really important because I'm really interested in from your world of private equity and everything else. You'll have seen very good CFOs, I'm sure, in roles. And we see accountants and they've worked in industry, and we talk about FDs, we talk about CFOs, but because so many people train through practice, many haven't done a CFO role. So what I'd be really interested in is your take on and sorry, I didn't prep this question with you, but I'm sure it's going to be very comfortable for you. What does a good CFO do? Because the start point for us, if we say, right, we're an accountancy firm, we want to deliver virtual CFO services for our clients. Step one is, well, what does a good CFO actually do?
No, that's a great question, actually. Let me big picture first, and then I do have a couple of slides that maybe it's the right time to show this. But okay, what I have seen in my career is accountants do a very important job, and bookkeepers as well, because bookkeepings are cleaning the data, okay, which for AI and the digital world, this is the most important job you can do. Now, what I saw is because of the way, whenever you train a professional in one way, you're actually not training them for others. Yes. So when I worked with accountants in my career, they were excellent at their job, compliance, financial preparation of the account, tax, etc., etc. When it comes, and this is a particular, I mean, many examples, but this is a company that I helped turn around in Houston, a $300 million company, where the accountant was excellent at everything that was related to compliance, tax, etc., preparing the monthly report. There wasn't much analysis of the companies that the accountant was prepared. One of our missions, and one of the things that I tell accountants is, look, you've prepared the accounts, okay? I mean, you know the company, you've prepared the accounts. Now you're 10%, you're almost there to analyze them and become the CFO for this company. So what are the skills? And actually, let me share. I'm going to share the screen.
Let's hope yours shares. It did before we started, so hopefully.
Yes,
there you go. Look, we should have got you to share the original slides as well.
Yeah, actually, I just tell you to send it to me on Slack. I think she did, but I'm talking, so I can't.
No problem.
Okay, so it's very quickly the skills for a CFO, which is the next step. And actually, maybe let me refresh the framework we have about financial analysis. Okay. We do have, this is the stages that we contemplate within financial analysis, which is, and you need different people for those stages. But as we know, bookkeeping, like I said, it's the most important thing because you're cleaning the data, allocating it to the right places. So then we don't have garbage in, garbage out when we analyze. The month adjustments and the preparation of the accounts that should be done on a monthly basis. Many people wait to register depreciation at the end of the year or any other adjustments, which means all during the year, you don't know whether you're making profits or not. Yeah. Okay, you prepare the accounts, and then you should prepare the reports. And then where Qokoon adds real values in the analysis of and understanding of the accounts, and in the decision made on the understanding of the accounts. Now, good CFOs, what I've seen, they have a lot of knowledge of corporate finance. Okay, what you learn in investment banking, what you learn in private equity, capital structure of the company. Do we raise debt? Do we raise debt, equity, etc.? How does that affect the company? Key skills, financial analysis, root cause, what is happening and why it is happening. Not only P&L, many companies focus briefly on P&L, cash flow as well. Many people tend to ignore the balance sheet. And actually, I tend to say that the balance sheet is like the carpet at home. All the dirt goes under the carpet, all the dirt goes on the balance sheet. So financial analysis, financial reporting, many accountants or CFOs tell me, no, I do, when I talk to them about Qokoon, they say, I do understand what's going on. And I say, okay, that's great. first of all, with Qokoon, you can understand it instantly. But even if you understand it perfectly, you still have to explain it to people that might not be financially, they might not have financial acumen, or they may not know much about financials. So it's not understanding, it's you need to understand and you need to communicate, okay, which is reporting. Financial modeling, there are apps there. Some of them have been valued at have been bought by $90 million recently, that do forecasting on the screen. Excel is still the best tool to do your budgeting at your first. And if you know your shortcuts and stuff, you can do scenario analysis, everything. Once you do that, we have the ability to upload to Qokoon actually. So if you have for example, a company that you've worked on Excel, their historics, which you can download from Xero QuickBooks, and then their projections, P&L balancing and cash flow, you can upload it, everything to Qokoon, visualize it in the way we're going to see later on. And then it's a very good way to explain it to the bank or to VCs, etc., etc. Modeling, budgeting, and forecasting, which comes from modeling. I always say forecast is not a prophecy. I see lots of companies analyzing versus budget. This company in Houston, 3 years down the year, we were already miles away from budget, and they were still asking, why are you meeting budget? So, I said, look, let's just focus on two things. Let's analyze versus last year, because that tells us the reality. Okay, and also let's compare and let's do the variance analysis versus budget. But let's not get fixated in budget, because you might have done a really bad budget, which means there's no way discussing it. And then what it's really, really, really important, it's so you understand your accounts, P&L, balancing, and cash flow. You know what is going on. Then you need to manage those three accounts. You need to manage your P&L. You need to have conscious efforts to manage your P&L, to manage your balance sheet, and to manage your cash flow. And I'm splitting heads here, but I like to call it, I don't like to call it FP&A. I like to call it financial analysis and planning, because for planning, you need the analysis and the understanding. And that's kind of basically the skills that need. So again, for accountants, it's just there. They're just like almost there, because they need, I think, the ones I'm talking to, okay, they need those analytical capabilities, budgeting, forecasting, everything that is on the screen now.
Yeah, and can you go back to that first slide, because that's kind of really interesting for another part of the conversation, because before we get into that, which is kind of like getting the fundamentals right, there's I mean, us as a business, so within Farnell Clark, our single biggest growth area is outsourced finance function work. And I'm sure there's others on the call that are seeing that, where we're getting businesses of, I don't know, a million revenue up to, for us, about 10 million, where they're not quite ready to take on a finance function, or they've got one person that ends up doing a bit of everything. Whereas the technology that's at our fingertips lets us really get inside an organization, and we can deal with the fact that if they're paying employed staff, they're going to want holidays and all of that kind of thing. So we provide that consistent cover, but equally we have the ability to make sure a bookkeeper does a bookkeeping job, and then a financial controller does a financial controller bit, and a credit controller does the credit control bit. And these organizations they're not big enough to take on a full finance function. So this opportunity is massive. And some of the things we're going to talk about in terms of the fundamentals are there within that structure. And we have a mix. We do a bit of kind of FD work ourselves. We work with partners to deliver FD services, where they bring us in to do the finance function work. So this is where the opportunity is at right now for everybody. And what we're saying here is, if we can get the fundamentals right, we find the right technology, then it really opens the door for us to get into this really strategic support analysis that Alfonso has mentioned there. And that's where we can make significant impacts to our clients, but equally generate new streams of revenue, get our team doing exciting work, and growing as individuals in our team as well. So, I mean, before we go on to these fundamentals, Alfonso, is what else are you seeing? Why, perhaps from your previous life, why is the opportunity so big for accountancy firms to move into this FD and virtual CFO space? Is it an awareness perhaps that businesses are realizing that there's a gap and they need to fill it, and they're not big enough to take on a formal CFO? I mean, what's your thoughts?
Yes, so I think the initial problem is that companies, especially the small companies, don't understand the difference between a bookkeeper, an accountant, and a CFO. So and when you start talking to them about CFO services, they say, "I already have an accountant." It's like, okay, but it's your accountant giving you CFO services. So this is, you have to educate the public. Now, the companies. Just to emphasize, and I'll come back to this, but just to emphasize how big this opportunity is, there's, first of all, companies are now understanding they can get fractional CFOs, so they themselves are understanding it. And many accountants or firms are being proactive about promoting those services, okay? And the message to them is, look, you don't, actually we act as part-time CFOs because we're testing the market as well. We act as part-time CFO services for a couple of companies. And the message is like, look, with Qokoon, the message I tell them, with Qokoon, I don't have to do any number crunching, anything. We get the analysis directly. So and I say, every company needs a CFO. It could be 1 hour a month, or it could be 100 hours a month. What can we, how come we can provide you 1 hour a month and give you a lot of value?
Yeah.
Well, because the number crunching, the reporting is done. So I just need to take 15, 20 minutes understanding what's going on and then discuss with our clients. This is very powerful. And what happens usually is that as you develop that relationship and that trust that it's needed in the accounting world, other businesses will come up. So what people are asking us a lot is, can you do a financial projections, the typical 3 or 5 years projections, P&L balancing and cash flow? Yes, we can. Okay, and those are services that you can price up quite. If you do it well, you can price up quite well. And again, it strengthens the relationship. It forces you to know very well the past of the company and also the future of the company. Let me give you the data point that I was going to give you before. There is a US company in the US called Pilot. They provide bookkeeping services and part-time CFO services mainly for startups and SMEs.
Yeah.
It's a unicorn. It's worth more than $1 billion. Okay, that already, and Sequoia and Jeff Bezos have invested in it. That already tells you that not only the opportunity is there, but investors know that the opportunity is there.
And I'd love to make a point on that, because I saw Pilot very early on, and actually there will be people on this call that are doing exactly what Pilot are doing. So we are delivering the services that Pilot are delivering. They're doing bookkeeping, they're doing accounting, and they're doing virtual CFO work, and they've been valued at over $1 billion. They're a startup accountancy firm. So, I mean, if you haven't seen it, take a look at it. I'm pretty sure it's pilot.com. And yeah, it's a quirky website, but fundamentally they're accountants and bookkeepers. But the money that Jeff Bezos and others have put in have just given them this, from where I sit, absurd valuation.
Yeah. but even if it's worth 500 million, still,
I'll take it. I'll take it. It's fine. So take a look at pilot.com if you haven't seen it. So
actually, let me just, to help people as well, people can go there and actually they can go to their pricing page, which we've done, and you can copy them. You can see how they're pricing the CFO services, because it's very insightful, and all the services that come within CFO services, and that would be of help. Now, I would say something that is quite important. Pilot is hiring for their CFOs. They're hiring what we were talking before, ex-investment bankers, ex-private equity, ex-management consultants, because there's a different way in which the accounting world is trained and financial analysis are trained. And this is in relation to our course as well. We can train people to do those sort of investment banking skills. But the point is that they're hiring ex-investment bankers, ex-management consultants, and ex-private equity. Now, with tools like Qokoon, Zero Qokoon, etc., and you can multiply by 10 the number of clients you're providing services to. You can start providing services to more sophisticated clients, because a tool like Qokoon, we provide more value the more sophisticated the company is. But also you can have a really good quality of life, because a lot of the work you can do remotely. Okay. And then Qokoon and Zero, it's a collaboration tool, because you can share all the insights on screen.
Perfect. So the fundamentals, and this is why I love talking about this topic, because those that have heard me speak before will know that I'm a huge advocate of kind of us as accountants absorbing the bookkeeping, and you've got it here. It's the most important step, because as you rightly say, if the bookkeeping's not done regularly, consistently, accurately, the stuff at the other end, the knowledge and decisions on that slide are going to be wrong.
Yep.
So it's as simple as that. So we need to control the data. And for me, that's the fundamental. And I use the analogy, and I've just finished writing my second book, and I talk in the book about the fact that if we were employed as a bookkeeper or a financial controller in a commercial organization, and we didn't reconcile the bank every day, we wouldn't have a job for very long. So why is it okay as an outsourced service provider doing bookkeeping, selling bookkeeping to your small SME clients? Is it okay to do the bookkeeping once a quarter, or once a month if you're really bold? It just doesn't cut it. It doesn't stack up. So how do we build the process to enable us to be able to do this stuff daily? So we manage the quality of the data, we manage the accuracy of the data, we manage the relationships that we're building with clients. And for me, that's absolutely fundamental. So nothing else is possible if we don't get that bit right. So you have two choices. You either work with a client to make sure that they get the data right, or better still, you generate revenue and profitability by controlling the data yourself. Anything to add on that, Alfonso?
So you saw me breathing there. Yes, it's very important. Okay, and it's, if you do it on a daily basis and on a discipline basis, you're gonna take more time, and it's gonna be a little bit more expensive to the clients. But what you can tell them is, look, this is what's gonna allow me to provide you real value-added services. Okay, this is what's gonna allow me to understand your financials and give you advice. I'm just gonna reiterate it, but because I think it's the most important thing. Any AI today, any AI, any machine learning, anything depends on data, but not only on data. It depends on the data to be cleaned. Okay, yeah. What is the magic thing about the process with Qokoon? It's open banking takes the data to Xero and QuickBooks. The accountants and the bookkeeper clean the data. For other AI businesses, the people, those are data scientists, and they earn a lot of money. In this case, it's done by you guys. It's done by the bookkeeper and the accountant. And then once that's clean, the data is clean. Then what we said before, you can get the insights from that clean data.
Yeah. And what I'm seeing at the moment as well, and it's not necessarily one for today, but I'm also seeing lots of new technology come to market around stage 2 here in terms of month close adjustments. So we're seeing tools that are coming to market to streamline your month end close processes, making sure that you're dealing with prepayments, accruals, and all of those kind of things in a really slick, efficient way as well. So that highlights again the shift in focus in terms of data quality. And we've all seen kind of tools that are about identifying data quality. And I know that Qokoon's got technology built in that's going to help us understand where there's risks to the data. And I'm sure Alfonso might cover some of that as he goes through the demo in a moment. So we're really lucky that we have tools and we have technology to help us with the bookkeeping. We've got pre-accounting tools. We've got general ledger tools on the cloud now that enable us to work in a very different way. So that's great. We can use those. We can build good processes. We can get the right people operating those systems and following those processes. But where does technology fit, and where does it come in for the kind of the right-hand side of this? So what's the role of technology, Alfonso, in kind of underpinning the delivery of these virtual CFO services, both in a broad sense, but then actually where does Qokoon come in terms of helping us get those kind of instant insights?
That's a great question, because I was looking at the slide and I was thinking, and I wanted to say what you've asked me to say, basically. Right. So, first of all, the role of technology on the left side of this slide, okay?
Yeah.
A lot of this has been automated and it will continue, like you said, being automated, okay, which means you cannot charge much for it because it becomes a commodity, okay?
Yes.
So where is the value? Where is the value? The value is here. The value is here. What can technology do? Again, once the data has been cleaned and the accounts have been prepared, you can automate a wealth of analysis you would do manually in Excel instantly. So a Qokoon, for example, we can do analysis on a month, on a month basis, on a quarterly basis, on a year-to-date basis, and on a last 12-month basis, all by clicking change from month to LTM or LTM. So we can visualize trends. Like I said, we download 5 years from Xero and QuickBooks. You can visualize the trends. I'm amazed myself when I get a new company in Qokoon, how fast it is for me to understand. Now, this is only going to become better. If we add now, the ChatGPT has become very, very famous in the last couple of months. We all know that it gets a lot of things right, but it gets a lot of things wrong as well, okay? And ChatGPT is going to revolutionize the way the search engine will be in the future, because it will basically give you the answer, okay? Now, what I like to think about Qokoon as the ChatGPT of financial analysis is in two ways. First of all, as people will see in a minute, we generate sentences explaining the why of things. So not your sales grew by 10%, which we also do, but your EBITDA or your profits increased or decreased because. Okay, so we're already giving you very quick insights. We have anomalies, P&L balancing and cash flow that tells you immediate warnings. But importantly, we have the monthly finance report instantly ready to print on PDF, including the commentary for the month, what has increased, what has decreased, etc. So a lot of these things that are painful to do are automated. Technology will give you the ability to realize the insights very quickly. Now, many people are worried about, am I going to lose my job or not? Not really, because like I said, if you're the CFO, even of large companies, your CEO or your board or even the bank sometimes, they don't have that much financial acumen. So the tool is great. They're not going to be able to interpret everything that Qokoon is telling you. So it's the middle person, which is the CFO, still needed to kind of interpret and then discuss, this is what we need to do. It's very powerful. Actually, in the future, people will talk like tools to computers. We are going to work on in the next month, we're working on an internal pilot project where I'll be talking to Qokoon. I'll be asking Qokoon a few questions and it will answer to me. This is based on the ChatGPT thing, etc. But the point is that manual tasks, the left side of the equation, are automated. Now, what we're starting to automate is the way we think. It's called cognitive automation. We're automating the thing you would analyze, and you would do the variance analysis from big picture to drill down, which is what we can do in Qokoon on the screen rather than on paper, or through Xero, which is table to table. We allow you to visualize everything.
Yeah, I think we've set it up nicely, Alfonso. Sure. Do you want to dive into product and kind of bring some of this to life in terms of specifically what Qokoon's doing around that instant insight and what you're delivering to help accountants and end clients, of course, with this CFO role? Excellent.
Yes, so thank you. I think before I start showing the demo, a big picture of what Qokoon does, okay? So the main two functionalities of Qokoon, first of all, is analysis. We help you to analyze the three accounts very deeply, and reporting. Like I said before, CFOs need to understand, and then they need to explain, which means they need to analyze and they need to generate reports. We do that automatically. We are not your typical dashboard. So before that, our goal in Qokoon is for the user to do as little as possible and get as much value as possible. We are not your typical dashboard. I tend to say dashboards are overrated because lots of them have really cool charts, etc., but they don't tell you the insights. And this is where we're trying to differentiate. Let me explain the key three differentiators that we have, and then I'll jump onto the demo. The first one is we generate, like ChatGPT, we generate sentences. We don't have room for ChatGPT gets it wrong. We don't have room for getting it wrong because, like I said, Qokoon is a search engine within the company accounts. And with numbers, there's no room for misinterpretation. Okay, so we do have generative sentences. We have cost alerts where we tell you, be careful, these costs are escalating. We have recommendations as to how companies can improve their profits. And importantly, we do have your monthly report is ready to be printed in PDF and shared with your clients. So this is kind of the big picture.
Excellent.
Let me very quickly go to Qokoon. And I'm just going to go to my, so you can see the screen, right?
Yeah, all good.
Okay. So all this, I'm going to do the demo with a fake company, which is the demo company. Okay. But except these 3 demo companies, all these other companies are real. So you see, we've downloaded this from Zero. We have downloaded, I do have another one from QuickBooks as well. Which I cannot see here, another one from QuickBooks, and then we also have Excel upload. Like I said, what we're doing at Qokoon, we're actually uploading public companies like Twitter, Tesla, etc. And I'm using that to invest in the stock market very successfully, actually. But anyway, imagine this is your portfolio of clients. Very soon we're working on a portfolio dashboard tool where you'll be able to visualize your best performers versus your worst performers and maybe share best practices. So imagine you in a map, you have all your companies, all your clients there, and you see that there's a problem, it's way underperforming all the others. You will click that, and then you'll come to that company in Qokoon, basically. But let me show you very quickly what we do here. Like I said, we have, so all the functionalities here, most of them are to analyze and understand. And then we have the report section, which is where your monthly report is ready. And I'm conscious of time. So if you see that I'm spending too much time in one section, just please redirect me.
No problem.
Okay. So again, this tool is good for due diligence as well, because we have historic data and auditing purposes. So not only for reporting on a monthly basis and understanding. I've chosen November 2022 as the date because, like I said, we do analysis on a year-to-date and last 12-month basis. So December, LTM and year-to-date are both 12 months. So I wanted to have the 3 periods. Anyway. The insights is like your executive summary. So basically, we're going to tell you, look, your EBITDA for the month was 389,000, but it has declined versus last year, same month last year, 52%. Your year to date, we remind you, is 11 months. EBITDA is minus 493,000, and it has declined 5 million or 111%. I'll come back to this because then we have a sentence that will explain this. Why? And now we tell you what your month free cash flow was, your year-to-date free cash flow, your cash balance, and your debt balance. Now usually Qokoon has the month analysis on the left and the year-to-date or last 12 months on the right. Okay, I'm gonna focus on the year-to-date. We told you that your EBITDA declined 5 million. Now we tell you here in a sentence, and the sentence is color-coded as well. So red is bad, green is good. Basically, we're telling you EBITDA declined 5 million as the 41 million decrease in sales and the lower decrease in cost of sales, 35 million, were partially compensated by the 1 million decrease in selling, general and administrative. This is the sentences I'm telling you, they're telling you things. Now, what we will be able to do when we come to the analyze section, we will be able to drill down and analyze sales, cost of sales, and SG&A and see the why. Now, I wanted our sentences to speak like humans. That's why you see here we're partially compensated, because if the sentence has to say we're completely offset or etc., and then we reorganize and we say this is what's affecting what. Okay. We also tell you very quickly on a year-to-date basis that EBITDA margin declined from 2.5% to minus 0.3, because while sales declined 22.7%, cost of sales declined faster. That's good at 23.2%, and SG&A, selling, general and administrative, decreased lower at 4.2%. This is usually because SG&A are fixed costs. So again, we'll come back to this and then we will drill down on SG&A, etc., to see what happens. But this is another important feature that we have where the cost alerts, basically. And within the key insights, our algorithms analyze all the cost categories you may have in your accounts. We analyze all of them. And in here, executive summary, we show you the top 5 that are affecting your profitability recently. You see how all of them have been increasing recently? So we tell you, be careful with these costs because they're affecting your profitability. They're candidates for cost savings, basically. And based on this algorithm, if we go to the profit center, we place all your cost categories in a map. in a heat map according as to how they're affecting your profitability, negatively or positively. And you can change the period of analysis. You see, we're doing here what we call trend-based. This is our own algorithm based on recent trends. But if you want to analyze on a month, quarter, year to date, etc., you just click. I'm going to click year to date, and the map changes. Okay, so for example, you see that your indirect salaries, first of all, have grown by 9%, but we quantify the effect they are having on EBITDA margin. We're telling you it had a negative impact on EBITDA margin by 2.3 percentage points. And everything is on the table as well, ranked as to worst impact to best impact. Okay, I'm going to go back to key insights very quickly. Then we show you, again, key insights executive summary, your sales trends over the last 5 years, your EBITDA and EBITDA margin, your net income, and your cash evolution over the last 5 years. What we do that Zero and Quick still don't do very well is we actually calculate your cash flow statement. Okay, again, right is year to date. This is your indirect method, net income to cash generated. Visualize, first of all, calculate it and then visualize. So you very quickly see where cash is coming in, accounts receivable, and where is coming out, prepared expenses. Actually, prepared expenses is related to some fraud activity that Qokoon was able to identify. But anyway, you can visualize the cash flow statement. If you wanted to analyze, like I said, SG&A, sales or cost of sales, you would come to the Analyze section. And as you can see, we can analyze P&L, balance sheet, and cash flow. We always start with a big picture. So, and we give you 3 periods. We give you month, year to date, and LTM. Always a big picture. This is your summary P&L, big picture. Sales, gross profit, EBITDA, net income. So you see that, for example, on a year-to-date basis, you're negative EBITDA, but on a last 12 months, you're positive, some insights there. And then we start becoming more granular. The sentence that explained year-to-date EBITDA decline, it's now visualized. How you went down from 4.6, I'm going to move my camera here, to minus almost 500,000. Basically, you see that the big factor is your sales decline, okay? And you saw the savings on overheads here a little bit. And we also explain why your EBITDA margin changed from 2.5 to minus 0.3. You see the bigger effect is your selling general and administrative. Again, we quantify the effect it's had on EBITDA margin. It's declined the margin. And then we show you very important charts that people don't tend to do. We're showing you now your P&L in charts, okay? Always starting with EBITDA, which is your profits, and then we explain profits with everything else. We say, so this chart you've seen already, this is your EBITDA on a month-by-month basis. What we should do as well is show you the same, but on a last 12-month basis. Every point here shows you your EBITDA for the last 12 months as you move on. I always tell companies, you don't have to wait until the year end to see how well you've done on a 12-month period, okay? And as you move along, you'll have a better visibility if the bookkeeping is done correctly as to how you're going to do it towards the end of the month. So you see, this company was in decline. The company 4 years ago was generating almost 10 million of EBITDA on a 12-month basis. Now it's 500,000 basically. So this company is in heavy decline. You don't really see that here. And we show you the same charts for sales, net, gross profit, etc. So down the P&L basically. Now, if you want to tell me, I want to analyze your SG&A a little bit more, you come to under P&L and then you say, okay, I can analyze sales, cost of sales. I'm going to click on SG&A. For those 3 periods, month, year to date, and LTM, you have the breakdown of your SG&A. Okay, you see that indirect salaries is your biggest cost. Then you have travel, and then you have consulting. Another type of sentences we generate is within SG&A, but anything you click, even if it's rent or whatever, we will have the same sentences. But for overall SG&A, we compare things to the past on a month, year to date, and LTM basis. I'm going to focus on year to date. We tell you this category, okay, so SG&A at 25 million year to date was declined by 4.2% versus last year, or 1 million. This is good, okay? A cost declining in theory is good, but we tell you, however, it had a negative impact on EBITDA margin of 3.4 percentage points. And we tell you why. Your total SG&A declines slower than your sales. So this section here is versus last year. This section here does the same, but looking at the past 3 months, the past 6 months, and the past 9 months. With this, we try to identify developing trends, because if you only look at the past year, you may miss developing trends. So as you see, all the thumbs are up here, which means you've done something about what was happening versus last year. Yeah. And then going down the SG&A summary, we have the variance analysis on a year-to-date basis versus last year. So we see that bonuses have declined a lot, bad year, and indirect salaries has increased a lot. What is the next step that if you're looking at the accounts on paper or zero would do? You say, okay, let's see what happens with indirect salaries. So you come here to the menu, indirect salaries, and you have the same sort of analysis. Okay. Now, I'm not going to explain it so much in detail, but we can analyze and drill down the balance sheet and the cash flow statement as well. Importantly, I'm just going to take you to the fraud case that Qokoon was able to identify. Qokoon has identified a lot of bookkeeping errors as well, but the fraud is actually really interesting. I'm going to go to balance sheet. I'm going to go to current assets. We're drilling down basically, and I'm going to go to prepared expenses. Do you see how this is the balance of prepared expenses for the last 5 years? Do we see an anomaly there? Yes. Basically, in June, it increased by 7 million. I'm going to take us to the anomaly section. The anomaly section, we detect anomalies in P&L, balance sheet, and cash flow, several types of anomalies, and we've discovered bookkeeping errors and fraud. I'm going to assume we were in June, and I'm going to go directly to the balance sheet anomalies. So we have P&L, balance sheet, and cash flow. The first anomaly that we detect on the balance sheet, unusual increases from the previous month, prepared expenses grew by 7 million. So our algorithms detect this big jump. It tells you here, and it also tells you, do you remember how the line was around 2 million and then it jumped? It tells you the balance of prepared expenses now at 9 million, it's very large compared to the past. And also tells you that unusual large cash outflow in the month related to prepared expenses, 7 million cash outflow. Okay. Now, what happened here is that the company was in breach of covenants. The bank wasn't allowing the company to make distributions to the shareholders, but the company lent 7 million to the shareholders. It's like I said before, all the dirt goes to the balance sheet. Okay. So how did they balance the accounts? Prepared expenses, basically. And this is the anomaly section that I wanted to highlight. Very quickly, because I'm cautious of time, profit center, it's the heat map that I've shown you before, but this is where we have recommendations as to how companies can increase their profits. And we can do the analysis on, again, last 12 months, year to date, last 6 months, quarter of month. I'm going to stay with last 12 months. We're telling companies, look, if you could have increased your prices by 1% in the last 12 months, your EBITDA would have been 2 million higher. And the resulting EBITDA would have been 5.9 million. And we can do this across the table. We do the same with cost of sales and SG&A. I'm going to focus on SG&A. We tell you, if you could have reduced your SG&A by 2%, your EBITDA would have been 570,000 higher. And our algorithm goes further than that. And it tells you, these are the cost centers you should reduce. Okay, your indirect salaries, your travel, your consulting, your bonuses. So basically, our algorithms tell you where you should focus to yield better results when you're saving costs. 2 quick sections here. Financials, people still like to see things in table. So we have P&L, balance sheet, and cash flow. You can choose the period of comparison. So I'm going to choose year to date. You choose the 2 months or year to date you want to compare, and then you have 1 year, everything as a percentage of sales, the next year, and the variance analysis here. And finally, I'm going to go to reports. This is the report that is ready to print in PDF. Okay, we have the 5 sections: trends analysis, balance sheet, month, year to date, and last 12 months analysis. I'm going to click on year to date. This is basically a summary of what you've seen before, but I'm going to show you 2 sections that were not there yet. So we compare, we have the typical table comparing versus last year. Okay, and we also show it in spider chart. So for example, yellow is last year, purple is this year. We see very clearly that EBITDA is way below last year, and we see why, because your sales declined, so your gross profit, but your SG&A remained more or less constant, basically. So very quick to visualize, and importantly, and then you have some summary charts. Very importantly, we provide you, whether it's month, year to date, and last 12 months, we provide you the written P&L commentary, telling you the summary here, what's increased, what decreased, etc. And then also we provide you the cash flow commentary, cash flow from financing operation, the major cash generators, the major items that have consumed cash, and then we show it visually as well. And maybe the last thing that it's important to know, we take things from Xero and QuickBooks and we classify most items correctly, okay, 99%. But sometimes a user creates a new account that it's not very easy to identify. They name it wrong or whatever. We have a chart of accounts section here that allows you, first of all, to visualize P&L and balance sheet chart of accounts. The white tickets is what we bring from Xero and QuickBooks. And it allows you to see whether you classify things correctly. Okay, now, if, for example, you realize that consulting shouldn't be SG&A, but it should be cost of sales, like Trello and other tools, you basically said, okay, I'm going to move it here. You apply changes and all the analysis will change based on that, basically. So the first step when people use Qokoon is to make sure that the chart of account is proper, which should take less than 5 minutes.
You've answered the question there, Alfonso. You obviously saw that question come in. Hopefully that answers that question for you, Vimal. The one other question we had was, I think early on, somebody said about the 5-year data. You bring 5 years data. If there isn't 5 years data, you just bring whatever's there, I assume. Doesn't make any difference.
Exactly. What we will do, if there is, let's say, 18 months of data, we will show you the analysis, but there will be a warning here telling you, because we don't have to calculate our variances, etc., and also compare last 12 months versus last 12 months, we need 24 months. If you don't have 30 months, there will be a warning here saying some of the analysis will not be relevant, some of it, because we don't have 20 months of data. Let me, and very quickly, just this is important for people. Do you see how your dashboard is empty? Here, my dashboard. As you navigate through the app, if you want to create your own dashboard, every chart will have a plus. First of all, it will have an eye, which it will tell you what that chart explains. And then it will have a plus that is adding to my dashboard. So I'm going to add 2 charts here. That's it. That's if you want to monitor things. I'm going to go to my, you see those 2 charts now, and you can actually move them around. You can actually include a text widget where you can explain whatever you want to explain about that chart, basically.
So another question in here from Barry: Do you connect with Free Agent, one of the other general ledgers?
So we don't connect with free agents because Xero and yet, the word is yet, okay? We do, Xero and QuickBooks are the ones that make it really, really, really easy. The other ones, it's a bit more complex. On our target, on our path, we're going to integrate with Free Agent, Sage, all the others, but not yet. What we can do is we do have an Excel upload. All the accounting softwares almost allow you to download P&L and balance sheet on a monthly basis for a number of months or years. So basically, it's a matter of you download and then you copy and paste into the format that we can send you guys onto the Excel format that we need, which is basically classifying sales into sales, cost of sales into cost of sales. That takes maybe half an hour a month. Our biggest customer in Houston, 200 million company, does that with the company, 3 divisions and the consolidated. So the CFO takes half an hour every month, but she says, look, I'd rather do the Excel thing because then all the analysis is done for me.
Yeah, perfect. So I think we've answered all the questions at the moment. If anybody else throws anything else in as we go through wrap up process here. So first, my observations from the demo there, Alfonso, I think us delivering insight for clients is absolutely critical. The challenge that I've seen firms have is they're so busy doing the day-to-day, and we just don't have the time to build and get to understand the data in a way that enables us to kind of highlight these things. For me, it's always been, why don't we just have an exception report that says, here's red, amber, green? And essentially that's what you've got in the product here. So we connect the data up, we get those exceptions, we see stuff that triggers a conversation, because that's what it's about, isn't it? It's about having a conversation with a client, say, did you realize, did you know, were you aware that this has happened? And that's kind of what clients want, because that's what they want us to be doing for them. So
and this is what you can do about it. This has happened, and this is what you can do about it. Yeah,
absolutely. So that's my big takeaway. And I think, as we said at the beginning, this isn't just about dashboards. This is about delivering that insight in a simple, succinct way. So thank you very much for taking us through that demo. I don't know, whilst I just will talk people through some of the takeaways, whether you've got access to those slides and you can pull up your offers slide just so people know what you've can do at the moment. I always like to finish these with some takeaways. So key ones here: outsourced financial director, virtual CFO services. They start with great data. So if you haven't already started the metrics around great data, let's try and get that data there. There's a huge growth opportunity for firms offering full outsourced finance functions. And from those full outsourced functions comes the opportunity to deliver really quality FD, fractional CFO services, and deliver that insight with advice and implementation for clients. And finally, I think clients need us more than ever. I've said a number of times, we came through a global pandemic, but within the global pandemic, financial support was there, really cheap, and in some cases, free financial support. We're now in the midst of a cost of living crisis, energy prices and everything else, and the support isn't there. So the period that our clients are going through now is probably more challenging than the pandemic, as bizarre as that seems. So they need help in understanding the numbers, accessing finance and capital. So there's a great opportunity for us here. And a couple of more questions here. So Bill saying, I'm a portfolio CFO. Would it be my company that signs up to Qokoon, or would it be each individual client? I guess, Vim, what we're going to do, we're going to send out some recordings of this stuff. We'll provide some links in there. I'm absolutely sure that Alfonso would be happy to kind of jump on and do a much more detailed demo for you, and provide details of pricing and things. But do you want to flag up that offer, Alfonso, on there? Just
Yes.
So it's going to be included in the mail out that we're going to send to everybody.
Yes.
So just the last slide there, Alfonso.
There you go.
Do you want to talk people through that? What they need to do?
Yes, and let me I just want to add to something that you said that is very important just now. I think the message to companies, you have to tell them, look, first of all, we realize that the value on the left side of the financial management, there's not much value there. You have to move there. You can tell companies, look, every company needs a CFO, even if it's 1 hour a month, okay? Qokoon allows you to do that. So I just wanted to clarify this, because companies might tell you, I don't know. They need it, okay? Now, you can visit Qokoon. We do have answering this question, which is relevant for this. We have user management. Okay, so you as a fractional CFO can log in, create your account, and then you can give access very quickly, as I'm going to show here. Actually, you go to your user management, okay, manage users, and then you can invite a new user, and then you can give them access to all of your companies or just one, and within the company you give access as a whatever admin or viewer, and then you can give them access to certain sections of Qokoon. So it depends how you want to do it. You use it and charge them, and they charge it and give you access. For access, and it's not something that we require, QuickBooks and Xero require that to use apps like Qokoon, you need admin rights for Qokoon, for Xero and QuickBooks. Now, you can go to our website and try everything and sort of register. Hold on. Okay, so what we have done is we have, and all the things you've seen, the problem we've had in the last 6 months is when we launch Qokoon and give all those functionalities on the left, many accountants got confused, and it's like, okay, I'm overwhelmed. So what if you go to Qokoon and you log in, you have the ability, it's going to be a reduced section, okay? You're going to see this, and I'm saying because it's important. You're going to see a reduced version where you have the finance report that we were discussed, and then the ability to look at the accounts. But you can look at here, print, select full report view, wait until everything is downloaded, and print as PDF. You can do that and get that report for free. If you want the full functionalities, let me know. I am happy to do demos, but what we have found out is that we have to feed it slowly to a lot of people because they get overwhelmed. Okay. Now you can get this report for free if you log in with our account now, and we give you 24 hours because we found out that when you give a month free trial, people they forget about it. So you have 24 hours downloading a company, and then the report is going to take you 2 minutes. And then that report is going to cost you £10 a month. Okay, if you on an ongoing basis, if you want the full features, that just let me know. Info, this comes to the team. Let me know, and we're happy to discuss how many companies you want to use it for, how many users, and take it from there. The point is that the public version is a reduced version, so people start getting used to all the functionalities we have. But if you want the full features, we're happy to discuss that with you.
Perfect. Excellent. So we are bang on with our timing. It is 11:30, so spot on, Alfonso. Thank you ever so much, everybody, for taking the time to join. As I said, we will be circulating a recording, and there'll be contact details in that email for you to get in touch with Alfonso and Ellie at Qokoon, who will happily set up demos, talk you through everything. I hope it's been insightful. I use that word regularly. I think that's what we try and do here. We make these insightful. We don't want them to just be an out product demo. We want to get you thinking about the things, the opportunities. So hopefully we've done that. Really appreciate you all joining us. We look forward to seeing you on next month's App of the Month webinar. And again, if you haven't taken a look yet, have a look at the new website. We'd love to get your feedback on that. And Alfonso?
I'm sorry, I just forgot to say it. I've mentioned it, but I want to clarify. We do have a one-day seminar that we explore and we teach like CFO skills using Qokoon. Okay, just for people, because just to let people know.
Brilliant. And finally, thank you to Alfonso for kind of joining us, being our App of the Month for February, for delivering a really great session. I've really enjoyed it. I hope everybody else has as well. So thank you, Alfonso. Thank you, Ellie, who's in the background. And we will see everybody soon. Enjoy the rest of your day and the week. And see you.
Thank you, Will. Thank you for
coming.
giving us this opportunity. Thank you.
Pleasure. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Take care now. Bye-bye.
Bye.